Welcome to the Hockey Writers What's Kraken, a weekly show with our top Seattle Kraken writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from the first ever puck drop to their future rivalries, our team covers everything that happens with the Kraken. So sit back, relax, and get ready to find out what's Kraken.
Welcome to the THW What's Kraken show, hosted by me, Tom Pepper, Sean Raggio, and Adam Kierszenblatt. Presented by the Hockey Writers, we talk Seattle Kraken hockey every week on iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to check out our written work at thehockeywriters.com and follow the show on Twitter at What's Kraken Show, as well as at Raggio9124 and at Adam K. Blatt. You might have noticed Adam looks a bit different today. That's because Adam is not here. We actually have our producer, Matthew Zator. He's also a prospects and Canucks analyst. So we're very excited to have him on and talk some upcoming World Juniors, as well as the Kraken Canucks game, which we hope will happen after the Christmas break. But before we get into the show, how are you guys doing? How are you, Matthew?
Doing good. Christmas is around the corner. World Juniors are around the corner. So let's go.
Yeah. You doing well, Sean?
Yeah, doing pretty all right. I always joke that I never know what to say right now, and today I genuinely don't know what to say. All I know is I'm happy to be talking hockey with you guys, and a quick shout out to the Hockey Writers store. We could throw a link up on our Twitter. Great Christmas gifts. This was a little gift to myself. Treat yourself, guys and gals, and definitely check that out because this is awesome for the gym. I'd wear this out. Great shirt. I am obsessed with this shirt right now.
I want to get
like
a hoodie.
I don't know. Yeah, what's that?
I said I want to get a hoodie eventually.
Oh yeah, I've got my hoodie. I rock my hoodie quite often.
I missed the boat with the hoodie. I realized it after the fact, like to the point where it was a little too close to Christmas to order it. I could have gotten like 3 or 4 people hoodies as Christmas gifts. I'm like, I'll catch that. I'll catch that on the I'm not going to name any holidays because I got people who listen who it would be a spoiler for. But definitely check out the shop. It's awesome. My mom loves her beach towel, Hockey Writers beach towel.
Like you, Sean, I don't really know what to say. I haven't been doing much this week. COVID's kind of gone bad if you've been living under a rock. So just kind of been hanging out with my girlfriend, watching lots of TV, watching movies, watching whatever hockey I can that's left. Also went and got a haircut. So it feels very weird. Feels a bit colder outside now.
Breaks my heart, but it looks good.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd trim it just in case things shut down again. I got to grow it out again though.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump into it here. So not great news. Kraken, of course, games canceled against the Maple Leafs, Coyotes, and the Flames. So there's no more Kraken hockey before Christmas. So they'll have 9 days off. Clearly, if you've been following the NHL, there's a lot of issues going around. Seems like almost most games over the last week have been postponed. The final one before the Christmas break is tonight, which will be yesterday when you're listening this, between Tampa and Vegas, assuming that doesn't get postponed after we finish recording this. So things are not looking good at all for the NHL in terms of COVID issues. So hopefully, over the Christmas break, maybe they can figure out a way to return. And I don't really know how this is going to go. This is all going to be very interesting times, honestly, because this has all kind of happened over the last 2 weeks or so. So anyways, that's in regards to the Kraken. This is a team that's kind of, as we talked on the show last week, they've kind of lost their identity a bit. At the beginning of the season, we saw them as this hard-hitting, never give up team. And in recent games, we've seen they've significantly lowered their physicality. I don't even know the last time we've seen someone drop the gloves. And we went over all this stuff. So 9 days off with this COVID break, maybe more, we'll see. I'll go to you first, Sean. Do you think this is a good or a bad thing for the Kraken?
I think this is a really good thing. I think they need to completely reset. Now, I think between these return games through, I'm going to say the end of February, because it's looking like there's going to be a lot of makeup games in what would have been the Olympic break. This is what's going to determine their season. They're either going to end February in the hunt or they're lottery team, in my opinion. And this break right now is where they got to figure out, both internally player by player and as a team, as a culture, how are they going to respond? You had an awful losing streak. You came back, you caught fire, and then you lost it. How are you going to come back from that? Are you going to find a new fire? Are you going to try and recapture what you had before? I don't think they should do that. I think they need to find a new fire, a new driving force, and they'll have individual recovery, rest up, time to reflect on these 9 days. But I think that then as a unit, as a team, either adjust the culture or just figure it out, because this is key for them going forward. This is very important. I wish it wasn't the case, for the sole purpose that, you don't want, this is because people are testing positive or getting sick, and you don't want to see that, no matter what context it is, hockey, music, life, day job, whatever. But to me, while the situation and the context behind it is unfortunate, this is very, very important for this team.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to have to battle adversity too, as are almost every team in the NHL. Like the Kraken right now have Adam Larson, Carson Soucy, and Jamie Alexiak on COVID protocols. Riley Sheehan and Colin Blackwell have just gotten off. They did cardiac testing on Wednesday. Yanni Gord also just got released from protocols. So, guys could be in and off of this list, and we don't even know what's going to happen with this, because this is just literally spread to every team at this point. There could be, I mean, you don't even know who's going to be in your lineup night tonight at this point. So the Kraken are going to have to do something and find a way to regroup, even with guys popping in and out of the lineup. I'll hand this over to you, Matthew. You're a Vancouver Canucks guy, but hopefully you've seen some Kraken hockey. So with this break, going into the holiday break now, the Kraken are 13 points out of a wild card spot, but they do have 52 games remaining. In your eyes, do you see them having any sort of chance of making the playoffs, or would you call the season done for the Kraken?
Yeah, I mean, I do the daily download for the Kraken, so I am up in what's happening there. So,
Kraken.
I think, just looking at what the Canucks have done, 6-game winning streak, they're right back in there in the playoff race. So, I mean, if you can get on a winning streak and the other teams start losing around you, you never know what can happen. Like the Oilers got onto a big skid. That's why the Canucks have been able to kind of catch up as well. It's kind of hard to say, but if guys can get on fire and, you start all of a sudden, Grubauer starts playing lights out like he did last year. We haven't really seen that. There's been times he's kind of shown flashes of it again. But I think there's just so much inconsistency with this team right now. And, there's games where they look really good. And then there's games they all of a sudden, like, what team are you going to get every game? It's kind of hard to say, especially when and now you got COVID kind of thrown in there. I do agree with you, Sean, with this is going to be good for the team. Break, get kind of reset, get some good practice time in. Kind of systems. They're still a really new team with a new, coach that hasn't, he did have a training camp. Yeah. But, he's still new. He's still a new coach. It kind of takes a bit of time to kind of get everyone to group. Practice time is never bad, even though maybe you won't have your whole team in it with COVID, with the stuff like that. But, anytime I think is good to get the systems right. But they need to get more consistent is my main message, I think.
No. Yeah, I think we mention every week on the show inconsistency. Oh, yeah. So that's definitely something. Did you want to add something, Sean?
Yeah, I want to touch on the Canucks for a second. So they're at 6-game winning streak, correct? Heading into this pause. I think that now I'm trying to visualize this as I say this in my head, so bear with me. If the Kraken come out of this break, kind of like in the same, as we said, inconsistency that they've been in. And even if the Canucks, who are now ahead of them by 7 points in the standings, come out of this it's this 6-game winning streak for the Canucks plus this recent inconsistent sort of skid by the Kraken that's going to bury the Kraken. I think that if the Canucks even just if they stay the course, that's going to make things really interesting for you, Matthew. But even if they just kind of come out with the rest of it and the Kraken can't catch literal fire, lightning in a bottle, although electricity and water don't mix, but we won't go there. If that doesn't happen, the Kraken are buried, because to me, it was they had more of a chance when they were on top of the Canucks, because of then, the next couple teams in that division are kind of log jammed within 4 or 5 points. You got, Calgary and Edmonton at 36 points, the Kings at 33, San Jose at 31, then now Vancouver's at 30. So if Kraken were able to kind of have that, they'd be in better shape. But because, if they both stay this meh course, then the Kraken don't have a shot. Did that make sense? That was like verbal.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah, no, I do. I definitely agree with that. It's just, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because if they don't come out of the gate on fire and the Canucks still keep winning, Kraken have no chance at all. So, I mean, but if the Canucks kind of go on that average, I still don't think they have much of a chance. The other teams have to start losing a lot, and they got to start winning a lot. And those divisional games are going to be massive. And that's, I think, what the Kraken kind of lost. They had that big divisional, playing a bunch of divisional games, and they couldn't win a lot of them. So, yeah.
Tom, do you think teams like, now we're going to, exclude the Canucks from this question. Teams like San Jose, the Kings, and, Edmonton and Calgary are even concerning me a little bit, but let's focus on the Kings and the Sharks. Do you think that they're going to fall off at all? Or are they going to kind of, like, where do you see the Kraken, if they play decently out of this, where do you see them ending up in the standings come playoff time?
It's kind of interesting, because I feel like the Pacific Division, at least, didn't really shape out how we were expecting at the start of the season. We kind of thought the California teams were going to struggle, and then all of a sudden the Ducks are one of the top teams in the league. So, if those teams are staying consistent, I mean, already at this point, when you're 13 points out of a wild card spot, it's already going to be a huge mountain for the Kraken to climb if they do want to make the playoffs. And like Matthew was mentioning, they definitely need to become consistent. On and off every single night. One night they look like a playoff team, the next night they look like a basement team. So it's tough to say. It's hard to say, because the way they've been playing so far this season, the California teams, it looks like they're in that range to slip into a playoff spot. Maybe if they can fall off a bit and the Kraken start getting that consistency, we could see the Kraken take one of those spots. But I mean, it's kind of hard to say now.
And the Ducks were, if I recall, and I should know this, I always reference this article in my articles. The team at the Hockey Writers predicted the Ducks to be last in the division, and they're currently sitting technically second, but a tie for first with Vegas for 40 points.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's been a weird season for the Pacific Division. No predictions are right.
Yeah.
Had the Kraken.
Makes for exciting hockey, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. We'll jump into the next topic. Well, I mean, just before we leave this topic, we'll talk again in the third topic about the Canucks and the Kraken having this. Maybe the Kraken can make a run and try to catch up to the Canucks, but that first game back after the holiday break is Kraken Canucks, which we'll break down a little bit later on in the episode. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what happens after the Christmas break, and hopefully we actually get hockey after the Christmas break, because things are looking a little rocky right now. So
yeah.
But hockey that should be guaranteed to happen is the World Juniors, which are supposed to start on Boxing Day. So this segment of the show, we kind of wanted to at least put a lot of focus on Matty Beniers, who was just named today as the alternate captain for Team USA. He was obviously the first ever selection by the Seattle Kraken last year, 2021 NHL entry draft, second overall pick. This season, he has 22 points, 11 goals, 11 assists in 20 games with Michigan. He's obviously an outstanding forward, and it's going to be exciting to see him at the World Juniors again this year, probably in a much bigger role than last year, where he won gold with them, putting up 3 points in 7 games. This is going to be an awesome thing for Kraken fans to get a look at, because personally, I absolutely love the World Juniors. I think it's one of the most fun hockey tournaments you can possibly watch. just seeing the future of the NHL coming up from young ranks. And this is going to be a big tournament for Matty Beniers because he's really going to be trying to prove himself worthy of hopefully making the Kraken next season. So I'll go to you first, Sean. What are you expecting from Beniers at this year's World Juniors?
Well, first, I just want to say for my fellow Yankees out there, and I just learned this before, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. So keep an eye out for that, because when he said that before, it was very off air. I was like, oh. But I think it's going to be interesting, especially in situations where he plays with Luke Hughes. You know, they have chemistry, and Mackie Samoskevich playing on Michigan together with the Wolverines. And I'm excited to see him play and showcase his game in every situation. I think he'll be out there at the end of games. I think he'll be out there to win some faceoffs, kill penalties, power play. And he's going to be a leader on this team offensively and defensively, which is only showing great things for the Kraken in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a lot of Kraken fans are definitely looking forward. And I mean, that offensive spark is something the Kraken could definitely use in their lineup right now. So maybe next season, if he's ready. You wanted to add something, Sean?
Yeah, sorry. I just thought of it. So it'll be interesting to see how this USA team will stack up against someone like Canada. But what I think is a good sign for Beniers as well is he has 7 power play goals on the year for the Wolverines, and all of them came in conference play. And if I recall, I think it's 18 points in 11 games and 10, I forget the exact numbers, but he's their leading point scorer in conference play. And to me, that says, you know, every game's important in such a small collegiate schedule. But to me, that says when the big games are coming up in your conference opponents, where I don't think they have the best record overall, he's at least showing up. And there are a lot of big names on that Michigan Wolverines team, let alone some of the guys he'll be playing with now. So again, because this is a Kraken podcast, I'm looking a bit past, you know, down the line at the bigger picture for the team rather than just the World Juniors. I think it'll be great signs for Team USA, but this is their Kraken franchise cornerstone, and I think they're going to love what they see, the Kraken brass.
Yeah, he's definitely putting on a great performance so far this season in Michigan. I'll hand it over to you now, Matthew. You love prospects, you love breaking them down. What do you see in Matty Beniers, and what do you think the Kraken could maybe get out of him in the future?
Well, I'm repeating myself every time I talk about this guy. He's the full package. We've said this before on Prospect Corner. I've said it, I believe, on this show before too. You know, he cannot do everything well. He's already shown it at a high level at the World Juniors last year, and he was a standout forward at his age. Now he's a year older. He's played in higher levels and shown what he can do there. He hasn't really dominated, but I mean, he's still like you said, Sean, about those clutch moments. He's hitting them. He's one of those guys right there in those key games. And that's something that's great to see because, you know, in the future, these are the players you're going to need to win cups with. And he shows a lot of that Patrice Bergeron, Jonathan Taves vibe that, you know, I believe I said that in his draft profile.
I steal that from you all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I still believe it. He hasn't done anything to negatively impact that opinion. I still think he's going to become that type of player. And for the US, this is the guy that's going to lead them in this tournament. Like you said, he's going to do everything. He's going to kill penalties. He's going to be on the power play. He's going to be in the key moments at the end of games. He's going to be in the shootout if they ever have to do that. You know, he's going to be the leader. I don't know if they've named a captain yet. I don't think they have.
Jake Sanderson.
Sanderson. Yeah, Sanderson's the captain. But again, Beniers is going to be a leader on that team at his age, and that's awesome. So, I mean, it's going to be amazing. Too bad he's American. Obviously, I'm the Canadian. I know Team Canada all the way. But I'm going to be loving watching Beniers, you know, just play because he also has my other guy, Matthew Coronado, on his wing as well. So, you know, I can't cheer against watching these guys because even though it's the US, I'm still going to be loving to watch them.
Yeah, I agree. As a full diehard Team Canada supporter, it'll be interesting. It's always interesting watching players that I like on other teams that are not my country. Yeah,
they just can't do it against Canada. They can't do it against Canada. That's all I say.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right.
Do it with other teams.
Just before we jump on to the final subject, I'm going to ask you both straight up. Who do you think wins gold at the World Juniors this year? You want to go first, Sean?
I want Matthew to go first. I'm sorry.
Matthew, you got a prediction?
I have no, I mean, this is gonna be a difficult one. And I said Canada, just as a spoiler, if you guys are watching, you're also gonna watch the preview show, Canada US. Preview on Prospect Corner is a little bit of a plug. I have Canada and Sweden in the gold medal game. In overtime, it's gonna be Canada, gold medal. But it's gonna be a very tight, and I have the US winning bronze. So Sweden's got a really tough team this year. I think it's going to be really a tough game, but I think it's going to be Canada coming out. They're just strong from top to bottom. I don't really see a weakness unless they have problems with left side defense moving to the right, because they have no left shot defense on their team. But you can't really bet against them. They got great depth all through the lineup and through their defense. Nothing against the US. The US has a lot of great things going for them too, but I think from top to bottom, just Canada's just really strong.
Like to hear it.
I could see, for the sake of radio, I want to disagree with you, but I think I could see that shaping up that way, especially because we talked about this off air. Jasper Wallstedt. Apologize if I mispronounced.
Jasper Wallstedt, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Because of him and some of their defensemen like Simon Edvinsson, I could see Sweden being up there. I think I'm rooting USA all day. Go for the goal, baby. But I could agree with that. I think also the Finns, Finland could make that the medal game as well against the United States. Joel Blomqvist, Joel
Blomqvist, yeah, it's probably Joel, yeah.
Their goaltender. I'm looking at an article I have coming out, and I'm not gonna butcher their names, but they got a couple of defensemen and I think a couple of forwards that were really interesting that I think the Finns might not be looked at as big of contenders as they maybe should be, but I think I could see them in that bronze medal game.
Yeah.
Based on the scenario that objectively I see, I could see it being Canada and Sweden. I'm going to go with the Swedes just to counter you there, and then US with the bronze. But, in all actuality, we know USA hockey is do or die, and we're taking it. Yeah, I could see the Swedes pulling it out.
Yeah, Sweden is going to be a tough team. And, you're looking at some of their names that, no one thought Alexander Holtz was going to come. He was playing for the Devils. He was playing for Utica. It's a surprise that he was able to go. And that's another weapon that they already had. They already have William Eklund, who also has played in the NHL this season and looked pretty good. So they got some good names. And like you already said, Simon Edvinsson, he's been lights out in the Swedish league this year. So
sorry about that. That's what's setting some of these players and teams a bit apart for me. You get some of these guys who've had, even if it's some minor NHL action or AHL action, guys who are playing in multiple leagues against multiple types and styles of competition. It's not just the same one league and maybe they're tearing it up or maybe they're just completely solid and dependable on their team. I think it was Dylan Gunther had played in 4 leagues over the past year and a half, 2 years. That's different styles, different talent levels, and you got to adjust and adapt. And it's stuff like that that's putting some of these other players and teams ahead of others for me.
Yeah.
You got to look.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Contextual than just this guy is a top ranked prospect. He went 7th overall for XYZ. It's looking at the deeper context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just summarizing the whole discussion here, this is going to be an extremely exciting World Juniors to watch, and there's obviously a lot of talent that's going to be on display. and it's going to be a treat to watch, especially considering what's been going on in the hockey world lately. And
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to it. My prediction, not biased at all, but I got to go Team Canada. After that loss to the Americans, I cannot see Team Canada not avenging themselves and coming back to win gold this year. So we'll see.
We will
all right.
see.
We'll jump into the final topic of the day here. So this is perfect to have Matthew on the show for, because this is the first time, scheduled for December 27th. First time the Kraken will visit the Canucks in a regular season game. And the Canucks are on fire right now, as we mentioned before. I don't know if we were off air or on air, but we had a discussion about this before, about Bruce Boudreau coming in for the Canucks, and they're now on a 6-game winning streak, still have not lost. And so with the Canucks and the Kraken having their games before the holiday break canceled, this return to play will ultimately have the Kraken and the Canucks facing off against each other, which is going to be very interesting. So I'm going to ask you first, Matthew. Obviously, the Canucks have turned things around. They were off to a pretty rocky start. They got Boudreau behind the bench, and now they're just suddenly on fire. So what have you seen in their play that's changed since Boudreau got behind the bench?
They forecheck. They forecheck. Like, that's just, they forecheck. They pressure the puck. They pressure the opposition, and Travis Green never had them do this. They're on everything when, the puck they rarely dump the puck in, I find now too. They carried a lot across the blue line with, coming in with speed. They've scored a few more goals off the rush. They're more of a rush team now. Like I say, more pressure. And I think that's the biggest thing I've seen in the difference. They may be still giving up the chances that they were kind of giving up in the last before, but they're scoring more goals because of the pressure that they're putting up. So with Thatcher Demko in goal, he's not allowing much right now either. The first star of the month, last month, he's still playing at a high level. He's on a 5-game personal winning streak that started when Boudreau came in. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I've taken away, is that they're just pressuring the opposition a lot more, making the other team think before they have to do things. And that has just created a lot more chaos. And that's, the Canucks just play a lot better when they're playing this style, because they got speed, they got skill. And when you're sitting back and not forechecking, how are you going to use that skill? So, yeah.
I find it interesting you say that, because it's making me think about the Kraken and how hard of a forechecking team they were off the bat. And I was honestly really liking their play, and they were very heavy hitting team. And, they just, all of their power was put towards the offensive zone on the other side. So it looks like the Canucks have started to do that, and they're finding success. The Kraken have kind of left that identity. But, they're going up against the Kraken, which is a close geographic rival for them. Hopefully it's going to be an extremely exciting rivalry. Maybe this is a game where they can maybe return to that style and put in that extra effort on a forecheck, and maybe drop the gloves, maybe throw some big hits. We'll see. Yeah.
Don't do what you just did. For those watching, if you're gonna go into a fight like this, just go right to the box.
All right, Sean. How excited are you to watch this game? And we haven't seen the Kraken and the Canucks face off since the home opener for the Kraken, which was a 4-2 win for the Vancouver Canucks. And I just remember that game being an absolute thriller from start to finish. It was super fun. The building was electric. So it's going to happen again now, but this time in Vancouver. What are you looking for in this game, and how excited are you?
Oh, well, first, just to toss back to what you said about having Matthew on, honestly, he's got main character energy. It's his world, and we're just living in it right now. Now, talk about my excitement. There needs to be some hate. You got to come out of this pissed off this break, honestly. Like, you, especially against this geographic rival. We talked about this so much coming up to the season. There has to be hate. You have to be mad, whether it's at yourselves, at them for how they've beaten them so far. Mm-hmm. You got to hit. You got to. Now I'm yelling because I'm mad. Because I looked the other day, I think they were out hitting the first period 11 or 12-2. You got Alexiak and Tanev, you got to come out mad. You got to hit. You got to to me, that's how you show that you care. Like, anyone can try to dance around somebody else, either do it or lose the puck, whatever. It's putting your body, even if you hit clean, you're hitting somebody at full speed. You're going to catch some blowback on that. Show you care, put your body in the way, risk getting, you never want to injure somebody or yourself. I've heard this quote before. You never want to injure somebody. You want to hurt them. You want to make it hard. You want to make them think twice about going into that area again to get the puck. And maybe that split-second hesitation get you a quick touch pass to the slot, boom, top shelf, right? You need that. And I just want to do a quick segue talking about my guy, similar hair length, nicer though, Brandon Tanev. The emotional leader, he's got to bring that, yes, but I'm going to have to harp on this a little bit for him. Holy cow. Dude, score on a breakaway. The amount of times, especially shorthanded, because he's got the wheels. And I love and appreciate that he's one of these players in a league that's becoming so pretty. Shout out Zegras with that beautiful flip to Milano. Long Island native, Sonny Milano. Shout out, Strong Island. But he gets the greasy goals, and I love it. I appreciate it. That's how so many guys who might be lesser skilled than him, because don't mistake his physicality for lack of skill. That's how so many of them are going to make it. But he's, especially with some of these shorthanded breaks, so many games would have been different, or at least the context of the game would have changed if he was able to finish some of these breakaways. I love him, but I gotta call him out for that right there. I called out Schwartz and he scored the next game. I gotta call him out. So what do we need? We need more hits. As much as I support fighting in hockey, I think, only when it's necessary. Gotta score on those breakaways. You just gotta, obviously they're in the National Hockey League. Sorry, I'm ranting here. They care, of course. Show me that you care. I want to see it.
I love it. I was going to finish off by asking the keys to the game for the Kraken and the Canucks, but I think you pretty much answered the question there. I love everything you said there. And with Brandon Tanev, he's definitely been getting quite a few breakaway opportunities, definitely more than the rest of the Kraken players that I've, at least from what I've seen. I haven't necessarily looked straight at the statistics, but he seems to get quite a few opportunities and he's not finishing on them. And I mean, hey, we've seen what he's capable of, especially early in the season with his goal scoring prowess. When he turns it on and he goes full hardcore, he's come up with some very big goals for this team. So hopefully he can figure a way to lift that puck and get it in between the goal, under the goalie's arm, but or through the fly. Well, that's my favorite spot. But
just really quick, fans, for those listening, whether it's me, Matthew, Adam, Tom, or the show Twitter, if you can find, whether it's a website or even a reporter, with any, breakaway statistics, feel free to tweet us. I think I might have asked once, and it was hard. Whoever responded couldn't really help find a website that actually tracks breakaways and conversions. Mm-hmm. Not even just for Tanev, just in general. So definitely, if you find something or, an interesting stat, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. You can go back to the start of the show or wait to the close to get them. But yeah, definitely throw those our way. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Do it. All right. Just before we wrap up, I mean, Matthew, do you want to go through what are some keys to the game for the Canucks against the Kraken? What are you looking for them to do out of this holiday break?
Play the same. Just stay the course. They've been improving every game. That Boudreau's going to have a little bit of a mini training camp here to kind of get some of his other systems down. Like he says, the offense is easy, the forechecking and the pressure, but it's the defensive zone that he has to get still working. And once that, I think the Canucks are even better because their defensive zone is still a little bit iffy on times. They're giving up a little bit too much on Demko. I think that's one thing they still got to clean up. But overall, I'm happy with the way the Canucks have been playing. They got three lines that are going right now. Podkolzin's scoring goals with Pettersson and Garland, and that's apparently a third line. So, so it's like, those three lines right now they're just running and just keep rolling them. And I mean, the defense was kind of decimated there because of COVID and injury, but they were still playing pretty good for, Myers playing almost 28 minutes a game. So And I just shout out to him because he's been playing really well, and he catches a lot of flack on Canucks Twitter, and he shouldn't be. I think he's playing a lot better this year, and he's one of the leaders on the defense, along with our guy Quinn Hughes. So I think Hughes has got a chance at the Norris Trophy the way he's playing, and he's even playing before Boudreau. He was playing off the charts. So, but yeah, the biggest key is just to keep the course, stay playing the same way, because it's been successful against some pretty good teams. Playing against Carolina is one of the best teams in the league, and they played pretty well against them. So, that's basically it.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed the game happens December 27th, Kraken Canucks. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm also really looking forward to the World Juniors. So everyone who's listening, enjoy that. Doesn't sound like Olympic hockey's happening, but I mean, hopefully we see the rest of the NHL through this year and everything goes to plan, because things are not great right now. So yeah.
And hopefully
Any
nothing happens
word?
with the World Juniors with COVID, and
yeah,
I'm pretty sure there hasn't been they're still going full fans, I'm pretty sure.
I think just before we started the show, I got a notification they dropped it to 50%. So
now it's 50%. So I mean, there's still fans. There's still gonna be some fans there. We're not going completely no people like last year. So there's gonna be some buzz in the building, which is good.
Yeah.
And
alrighty.
Are we better at?
Yeah.
Just so thank you to Matthew for coming on. Like, as you heard, daily download for us, and I'm sure several other teams, right? And he's got the writing for prospects and Canucks, so that expertise was more apparent here. I can't speak, Jesus. Matthew watched it, producing, he's doing everything, man. Great job. Thanks for coming on and stepping in. Adam, hope you enjoyed, buddy.
Look forward to getting Adam back. Yes, and thank you, Matthew, our superstar producer. It was awesome to have you on, and we love chatting hockey with you. So that was great. All right.
My head too. Jeez, that was so bad.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of THW What's Kraken. We hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to next week, as we'll be breaking down any Seattle Kraken news and rumors that come up over the next few days. Again, make sure to check out our written work at thehockeywriters.com and follow the show on Twitter at What's Kraken Show, as well as at Raggio9124 and at Adam K. Blatt. You can also follow our special guest today, Matthew, at Matthew Zator SC. And from Tom, Sean, and Matthew, this has been THW What's Kraken.